us go to Florida. We don't necessarily
Oh yeah, let's go to Florida, baby.
register with the embassy. And so when you look at the number, it's just an indication, but that's clearly not the entire picture.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here. We're gonna take a look at Melanie Jolie, our Minister of Affairs, Foreign Affairs, Global Affairs, some kind of affairs. She talks about being in Florida. When was the last time you were down there? Takes it for granted. I don't even know if it's like code language or something, but something has happened since she came back from France. I don't know what kind of a party it was in France. I do know a good party though, and it looks like that to me. You can see other cabinet members. I think that Jolie maybe is sharing her stash. Everybody seemed strung out this week. Pretty crazy. Let's take a look at Melanie Jolie. She was in the camera frame this week more than most other weeks. She avoids that stuff a lot. I'm not sure if something gave her more confidence or what it is, but she seems even dumber than usual. Let's take a look. Watch this.
Okay, good to see you. I'll start in English and then I'll go to French.
Oh yeah, let's go to Florida.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Each for the Conservatives, the Liberals, and the Bloc. We'll begin with Madame Dancho. The floor is yours for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Minister Jolie, for being with us today. Of course, we have a copy of the redacted contract, the special contribution agreement of up to $15 billion taxpayer dollars, and the Strategic Innovation Fund, which represents a $500 million contribution from your government. Of course, to Stellantis for the Nexstar EV battery plant, as you know, courtesy of CBC last week. So now we have a situation where 3,000 people have been laid off in the Brampton facility, as you know, and you've responded to say that you're going to sue them, that they've broken their promises. And just today, you've announced that you're starting the formal dispute resolution. So I'm trying to understand what exactly the promise is that you're saying they broke, assuming that means that they broke a promise they signed in the contract. So can you tell the committee where in this agreement, courtesy of CBC, is that Canada-wide jobs guarantee? What clause?
Well, first of all, when it comes to the different, so I think we should be clear, there are 3 different contracts. This committee will have access to it. The government is acting in good faith. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of these contracts and will be able to have access to it. So it's not a courtesy of CBC or not. The government has already accepted the production
but in
of
that,
the
that's
contract.
the first that I'm able to see it. So is it in that contract or is it in another CIF agreement?
So obviously you'll see in the contract that all the contracts are linked. And clearly, it is about protecting jobs. It is about also the production at the Brampton facility. So you'll see that clearly.
So,
by the way, I must say,
you.
Raquel, because I think your question is really an important one. This committee, although it's not necessarily the same members, but this committee got access to contracts for the Nexstar facility 2 years ago. So that's why the government has never,
Minister.
been clearer that you can obviously have access to it.
Those are read in confidence. We do know they're going to OGO, and now CBC has released it. So this is the first access we've been able to publicly see the contract. And again, I'll just say as an aside, this is, of course, a professional setting, Minister, so I'm extending a professional courtesy to you to refer to as Minister Jolie. I would appreciate that same courtesy to me in this setting. Thank you. So in this contract, though, there is no jobs guarantee other than the 2,500 at the Nexstar plant. So are you saying that the other CIF agreement that was for retooling Brampton and Windsor, does that contain a Brampton jobs guarantee?
So I must dispute what you just said. This is not a fact. There's always job numbers guarantees. That's exactly why the government of Canada and also the government of Ontario in this case have decided to support the company. Because at the end of the day, why do we do this? MP Dancho, we do that because we believe that it's important to create jobs, to protect jobs and create jobs.
Minister,
so you will have access to the information. You will see in the contract that there are job numbers.
Thank you.
And of course, there are things that are commercially sensitive, but the government will be acting in good faith.
But in the contract that we were provided from CBC publicly, there is a jobs commitment to the Nexstar plant. There is no mention of Brampton. So I'm asking you, in the contract we have not been able to see for Brampton, is there a jobs guarantee for Brampton?
there are jobs guarantees in all the different contracts, but I must say also that you absolutely need to make sure that you see not only the contract that is linked to the investment through the Strategic Innovation Fund for the Windsor and Brampton facility, but also its amendment. And we'll make sure that that's the case.
So you're saying that the Nexstar, the two contracts you've provided to them that total well over $15 billion, that you're tying that contract being paid out to the other SIF agreement for the Brampton and Windsor retooling. Is that correct? Because they're in violation of a Brampton.
The three contracts are linked. There's a
Right, they're
contract
linked
and an
through
amendment.
14.1G.
So-
Yeah.
A couple of things. And maybe, Charles, if you want to be able to address the question by MP Dancho. But just before I pass it to Charles, it is really important to understand that in the contract, when you refer to $15 billion, the $15 billion was linked to the production and sale of batteries. So when you look at Windsor right now, and obviously your colleague would know because she's from the writing, the facility has been built, but the company is still hiring. And there's not been any production and sale of batteries yet. So the government has not spent $15 billion. So I know that some colleagues have been using the
I
term
appreciate
$15 billion,
that.
but it's not
It's up
accurate.
to $15 billion, though.
But it's not been
And I think
spent
what
yet
you've
by the
painted in the
government,
media is
and
that
that's an important
what
fact.
you're saying, though, is that because those 3,000 jobs at Brampton were laid off, they're in violation of their agreements. Fair enough. Now, you're saying that there is a Brampton jobs guarantee in that other SIF agreement that no one in the media or ourselves has seen that's going to OGO. We welcome that opportunity to see that. But you're saying there's a jobs guarantee in there that will link it to the Nexstar battery plant. Is that correct?
It's actually linked to the fact that the Brampton facility must be operating, and there is not a possibility. If the Brampton facility ceases its production, there will be a violation of the contract.
And that's going to impact your agreements with the Nexstar plant. Is that correct?
And that's why we're actually starting today
With
the
the
mechanism
default.
of dispute settlement, because it is important that we be able
Understood.
to hold the company
are
to
you
account.
prepared
But I
then-
just, MP Dancho, maybe Charles, you want to add something?
Sure. Thank you very much. I guess what I would just highlight in all the agreements under the Strategic Innovation Fund, there are regular commitments around jobs, around the maintenance of activity, and so those are the
Thank you.
types of economic
Just with my
activity.
remaining 10 seconds, so are you prepared to pull back some of this up to $15 billion and the other funding from Nexstar if they don't properly equip with the 3,000 workers in Brampton? Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you prepared to make that commitment? You're going to roll back some Nexstar funding?
Well, we'll make sure that basically we continue to uphold them to the funding that they're liable for, period.
I'm out of time.
Thank you, Madame Dancho. Madame O'Rourke, floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to Florida, baby.
Dancho, you have 5 minutes.
An issue. Again, it's 3,000 jobs, as you've said, and you've linked the contract, the SIF retooling with Brampton and Windsor to the Nexstar plants. So I need to understand, though, you mentioned there was a production guarantee for the Brampton SIF agreement, but you did not specify an employment guarantee number. So was it 3,000 jobs that SIF agreement with Brampton guaranteed?
So I will provide that information through you because obviously they're commercially sensitive information. So I
If
just
I may
need to
just
check.
correct, if I may just interrupt
But
for a moment,
no,
if
I
just
don't want to
may,
be interrupted,
before,
Mr. Chair. I
but
just
before
want to
you
be able
mention
to
that,
finish
if
my
I
sentence,
may.
please.
Minister,
So-
MP Dancho.
if I may.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
When we ask the minister to appear, we want the minister to have an opportunity to have answers. We want members to have an opportunity to have questions. I'm not going to hold the time of her response against your time.
What about this time?
Okay, this time the clock is paused, so you're okay. Minister, I'll let you finish the response. Madame Dancho, I'll ask to let her complete, and then Minister, I'll ask you to let her complete. I'm not going to hold the clock
Yeah, that's it.
hostage here. So Minister, finish, and then MP
Yeah,
Dancho,
I
back
think
to
it's
you.
important when you look at the different contracts that first and foremost, particularly on the battery front, the contract is 1/3 the government of Ontario and 2/3 the government of Canada. So it's not $15 billion. I know that the MP has referred to $15 billion
Minister,
for the
I will have to
government
cut
of
you off
Canada.
because this
It's
isn't what I
actually
asked you
together.
specifically.
But to go specifically on the job
Specifically.
numbers, we'll look at what is possible to make public because of commercially sensitive
If I
information.
may on that
but
specific
I
point,
I
please.
just want to
If I
finish
may
my
on that
answer.
specific point,
and
please, if you'll
therefore
allow me,
we will
Minister.
be
It is
able
my
to
time,
answer
so I'm
your
just going to have
question.
to respond. So on the commercially sensitive redactions, now on the SIF agreement for
Mm-hmm.
Nexstar, the jobs guarantee of 2,500 was not redacted, so it stands to reason that it wouldn't be redacted, wouldn't be commercially sensitive under a different SIF agreement. Surely you can tell us if there was a 3,000 person jobs guarantee for Brampton, and that's not commercially sensitive information. So it is concerning to me that you're not committing that there was a jobs guarantee for the Brampton
that's
facility.
not what I'm saying.
So you're
What
saying that there is...
I'm saying that all the plants were linked and all the contracts are linked. So you will be able to see it when we will be producing.
But if there
the
wasn't
pattern.
a jobs guarantee of 3,000 people at Brampton, which is the whole reason you're here, then how is it that you're tying all of the money to a jobs guarantee that may or may not exist? You should be able to tell us if there is a jobs guarantee for the 3,000 jobs in
I
Brampton.
think you're falling into the trap of trying to find a problem where there's none.
Well, the problem is that
Because
3,000 people were laid
what
off,
the government
and your
was trying
government
to
committed
do-
millions and billions, in fact, of dollars.
Well, MP
and we're
Dancho,
trying
I
to
don't know whether
understand
you want
if
this to be a
there's-
monologue or you want me
Well,
to
but
appear.
the
Because
question
if you
I'm
want
asking
this
you
to
is
be a
very
monologue,
clear.
So, colleagues-
I don't need to be here.
Colleagues, I'm going to pause this again for a moment. I do want to ensure that we've got an opportunity for dialogue. I think that's the ultimate goal here. Minister, if you can give us maybe 30 seconds in your
Okay.
reply, MP Dancho will go back to you, and then I believe you were hoping to split the time with Mr. Seaback, of which there would be about 3 minutes or so left. Minister, if you want to give us about a 30-second answer here.
Yeah, well, ultimately, the goal was to create jobs. And so obviously there were job numbers, and obviously it was linked to the fact that we needed to protect the Brampton facility. I was not negotiating at the time, but this is clear through the very evaluation and just the fact that just reading the contracts. When you see that there are contracts that are linked to investing in the Windsor plant that are linked to the Brampton facility, or investing in the Windsor Nexstar LG, basically Stellantis LG, contract linked to the Brampton facility. So clearly it was to protect the jobs. And so that was the
she's
position
cutting
of the government.
If I may, so again, what we're trying to dig down is if your government instituted a clause in one of these three agreements that guaranteed the broader Stellantis footprint in Canada, including the 3,000 jobs that were just laid off. You know this. So what I'm trying to drill down is if there was something in the contracts, there isn't one in here. Brampton is even mentioned in the contract for the Nexstar agreement. I understand they can be linked. There is a clause 14.1G that may link it to the Brampton facility. But you're not committing whether there was a clear jobs guarantee there. So your argument is, oh, no, we're covered. We're suing them in clear grounds. But you're not telling us, in fact, if there was 3,000 jobs guaranteed in that SIF agreement. So that's the real question I have, because there is significant commitments, as you know, up to $15 billion in partnership with Ontario. We have also another $1 billion of capital investment as well for the retooling of Brampton and Windsor under the SIF agreement. I'm trying to nail down if there's a jobs requirement for Brampton. A further $500 million in this SIF agreement for the Nexstar. We're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars. And from our estimation and the historic investment that your government has made, surely there should be an explicit Canada-wide jobs guarantee. But we're splitting hairs here. You're kind of being quite evasive of the numbers, whether there's a real guarantee. It should be explicit if you're going to give a historic amount of taxpayer funding. In fact, just to wrap up, Mr. Chair, I will just say this. I'm not sure if you understand the magnitude of the money that you've committed, but I did some math. And the number of two-parent, full-time working households that had to work for your government to provide just its
So since you
contribution
interrupted
to
me before,
Stellantis
I would like
is over
to-
647,000 Canadian families had to work an entire year for your government to provide up to $11 billion. And there is no explicit jobs guarantee in
That's
anywhere
not
here.
true.
So
you're putting
it's just
you're
quite
putting words
disappointing,
into
but
my
you're not
mouth,
giving a
which I don't
commitment of
agree.
whether there's a 3,000
and also, you're not
So,
being true
colleagues,
to
I
the
think-
contract.
You're not
because
giving
the
that commitment.
contract
What's
is until
gonna
2032. So math doesn't
there isn't
work.
a
So,
there
Minister-
isn't well,
And
that's how many
Dancho, stop doing
taxpayers had to
politics.
pay
The
to
goal
fund this
right now
agreement.
is to
That is a
protect
fact.
workers.
Enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be generous here. Mr. Seaback, I'm going to give you the opportunity because I believe that MP Dancho was hoping to share some time with you. There is not time left. I'm going to be generous, provide you the opportunity for a question.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I ask that you allow the minister to respond in full to
Absolutely.
that question, and then we're going to continue. Okay?
Great. Minister, I know you're aware that
Oshawa lost a shift, 700 jobs. They went to the United States for production there. Oshawa plant makes light-duty trucks and heavy-duty trucks. Are you aware that GM is now retooling an abandoned EV plant in Orion, Michigan to manufacture light-duty trucks starting Q1 2027? And I spoke to Unifor Auto Workers this morning about this. So they want to know from you, will you guarantee today that they will not lose their jobs and have those jobs be transferred to the United States, just like what happened at the Brampton Stellantis plant? Will you guarantee it today?
So, Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I think that this was about Stellantis. I will answer, of course, discussions linked to GM. When it comes to Oshawa, the third shift is here until January, and we're fighting for it. And we're having conversation with Stellantis to make sure that we're able to keep it and to keep the production in St. Catharines and to keep and bring back also a production to Ingersoll. And I will continue to push because I think that is completely unacceptable what is going at GM. That being said, I think that what is happening at GM and what is happening at Stellantis are two different decisions, because there was a clear commitment on the part of Stellantis before the Canadian government to make sure that there would be a facility that would be working with the Jeep Compass at Stellantis in Brampton. When it comes to also the third shift, we'll continue to make sure that we put pressure on GM. I will be having conversation with Mayor Barra. Unifor has been having conversations also with GM, and we will be united because I've met also with the Oshawa people. I've met with the Oshawa Auto Workers. I've met also with Unifor, and I'll make sure that they can keep their jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Seaback.
Oh, yeah.
I personally find it very confusing how any liberal voter, like, I'm sure you're naive, like, it's okay to be duped. I've been duped. I voted for Trudeau in 2015, believe it or not. So it was a big mistake. I wasn't watching or paying attention then, but I have been paying very close attention since 2023. And let me tell you, these guys don't care about your future. They want your money in their pockets, your future, your kids' future, your grandchildren's futures in their pockets. See what they're doing to Canada with immigration. See what they're doing with housing. Check out what they're doing with our health care. What is better than it was in 2015? Absolutely nothing. It's confusing to me. On a lighter note, my name's Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. I work very hard at this channel, and believe me, I'm not a conservative. I will be voting that way. It seems to be the only way to get out from underneath this liberal conspiracy to destroy our way of being. And if you think like, oh, I don't want to admit that I was fooled or that I was raised liberal, so I'm still a liberal, change it up, because they have no plans for your future except lining their pockets with your tax dollars, laundering that money, spending it in other places so Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau, all these hack bullshit ministers can get richer on your coin under the guise of being incompetent or negligent. Like, it's not that. They mean to be doing what they're doing, and they're pulling it off. There is no future for Canada under this government. So I watch all the committee meetings. I watch everything that happens in the House of Commons. I also follow the propaganda-driven news of the legacy media that is paid for by this government to dissuade your mind into some kind of trick to think that they're doing it for the benefit of you. It's not for you. Liberal voters, I'm speaking right to you. Please watch the politics, not the news. Like, watch the independents on YouTube. Do anything other than what you're doing, because if you're still being duped and not aware that you're being fooled, that's a huge issue My name's Aaron. This is Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe. I work very hard at this channel. Believe it or not, I spend 12 hours a day, 7 days a week at this because it takes a lot of time to watch all of the politics. But that is where you get your real information. So I would appreciate your subscription. I know that a lot of people that watch this channel, 60% of the people that watch my channel aren't subscribed. I need you to subscribe. I'd like you to subscribe. I'm asking for that because this stuff is so censored, which is a part of legacy media, that it's hard to get any kind of word out. I know that there's other platforms, just go to that. I know that a lot of people, liberal voters, watch YouTube, and I'm hoping they'll catch some of this and become informed, learn a little more. Because again, it's not a liberal conservative thing. It's an evil versus good thing. I'm not a conservative, like I will be voting that way, because we need to get out from underneath this elephant that keeps squashing us. It's ridiculous. Please like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come check out one of our live shows. We cover Canadian federal politics right there. And I think you'd enjoy our chat room. It's the best that I've seen online. That's it, Aaron. Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video. We're going to wrap it up right here. Out for now. Thanks for watching.